Hi, this is Fran with Stampendous, and we're picking up on our watercolor series, starting with the Fragrant Rose. And last week we did the rosebuds, and we kept it very simple, very minimal color to the background. And now we're going to do some more fun things with the beautiful fuller rose that you see here. And I've done it in a variety of colors. Let's see, let's move these out of the way. And as I do my 2 miles a day, I often see beautiful roses, and I take a lot of photos, and I study the different colors and the way the light hits the form of the rose. And so we're going to talk about a little bit of that. And I wanted to show you how, let's see, in this one we talked about how a little touch of a little bit of yellow or a peachy color with the pink is going to make the rose much more vibrant. And in the same way here, I may have started with the soft yellows and added some more of the gamboge, but adding little bits of a soft peachy color from the scarlet is going to really add life to your piece. And you can see I leave bits of white as well. You don't need to solidly fill it in. But I went from yellows to more of the scarlet to a peachy color by mixing rose and scarlet on this one to the really deep reds. And so that's what we're going to paint today. And you'll get to see how these vibrant colors make such a dramatic look with this rose. So I wanted to point out how on these two I did the little droplets to look like the dewdrops. And I wanted to explain how we can make use of the Fineline Masking Pen to create those little dewdrops. It comes in the package like this, and you've got a very special cap with a wire. Let me move this out of the way. Once you put it together, you've got some more instruction and information on the back. So this one has been put together, and I will now remove the blue cap to reveal this incredible fine line tip. And this is why this is just the best masking option out there on the market. And this is going to allow me to do those little tiny droplets. And I got to thinking that the droplets would stay longer out here on these petals than they would on this part of the flower. So I'm going to place these in a couple of different areas here. And again, I can make a very tiny little droplet because of this fine line wire tip. So they go on kind of clear, and as it dries, it will turn a little bit of a bluer color. See, it has a wire suspended in the cap. That little wire will perfectly fit down into the base. And it'll only go down when it's through that center metal chute, so to speak. So when you're done using it, seal it back up, and it will last and stay fluid for you when you're ready for the next one. So this takes a little bit of time to dry. You can perhaps see it a little bit as I turn it here. And while this one is drying, I have another one prepared so that we can proceed with the painting. So this one I can now see is kind of a light blue, and that tells me that it has had time to dry. And I can proceed with my painting. To give it a little bit more time, I think I will do the leaves first. And we're going to fast forward some of this so that you can just have fun watching how it all comes together. mix my purple. I have rose with the phthalo blue, and this gives me a dark purple. More of the rose gives me more of the magenta. I made sure that on this project I went with some really rich colors so that the little dew droplets would really pop against the contrast of the reds. And on this one, the more peachy or salmon colors, you don't see quite as much contrast, but it still stands out quite nicely, so it's a nice touch. So I'm going to have to let this dry completely, and then I can simply rub away all of the little masking fluid, and that will give me a totally white little droplets. And then I came back in with just a little bit of a blue or gray on my brush, and I shadowed like a little crescent shape at the bottom edge of each of those little droplets, and that just finishes it off. If you're wanting to die cut your rose into an oval, make sure you work on a little bit larger piece of paper so that you have room to die cut it if you'd like. Next, I want to do some more fun things from the Hummingbird Hello set, and it has quite an array of beautiful flowers in it, and the fuchsias are a favorite. And if you'll notice, they come in so many beautiful different colors. I tried to make sure I did a little bit of everything here, from soft pink to light and dark pink, or pink and white, the different shades of pinks and reds and purples, and it could be almost any combination of the petals being one color and the other petals that hang down being another different shade of color. So Google it if you need to, and study all of the different fun colors you can do with your fuchsia. What I wanted to paint for you today, I thought was kind of a fun opportunity to use the hummingbird in a little bit more of a whimsical or mixed media style with some crazy colors. And we did them in very colorful last week, but now we're going to do every color of the rainbow here. And so I've stamped onto my watercolor paper. I've taped the edges so that I have a nice white border. And I'm going to start with some light blue clouds, and then I'll just proceed with all of the different colors, and we'll just fast forward it, and you'll get to watch how fun and it can be to do your own painting here of a very colorful little hummingbird. You could vary it by bringing in some of the purples as well, but it certainly makes a very fun idea, and each one comes out a little bit different. This set is called Adventures Await, but I initially was going to call it Misty Hills or something because of this idea of talking about how you create the illusion of distance and faded colors in the far distance and then more intense colors in the foreground. And you can see here it makes a nice little bookmark sort of approach to do a long and narrow one. And I've done this one in purples, and then this one more in blues and greens, and this one even perhaps in some fall foliage kind of colors. So let me give you some fun tips on how to make the most of this idea. I've got my watercolor paper taped down and protecting a white edge all the way around. And now I'm going to do my stamping with my VersaFine black. And these designs are in separate pieces for a reason, as you'll see. So watch, we'll do some fast forward here as I do my stamping. In our very first lesson, we talked about a value study, and we did this with our French ultramarine, and you can see I stepped it down from very intense vivid color all the way down to a very pastel version. So now what we're going to do with this hillside is in effect create values going from light to darker in the foreground. I thought it would be interesting to do it all in purples, and to do that, we're having to mix that from the quinacridone rose and the blues that we have. And I wanted to mention here that I did this one in what I assumed would be gray. And when it was wet, it looked quite consistently gray all the way down, which I'd had to mix from 3 colors up there. And when it dried, the colors separated out more than I expected. So a tip to avoid that is that we're going to mix up enough of our purple here to have hopefully a consistent wash of purples all the way through. And this is a larger piece. So if you start small, it will be easier, and then work your way up. And we'll see how we do here with this one. Let's get these in view. And again, every time I stamp it, I get a slightly different combination of hills and everything, so that makes it really fun. Okay, so using this pocket, which has the quinacridone rose and the phthalo blue, make sure that's the case. Actually, that's more the ultramarine. I'm going to mix quite a bit of the purple here so that I have a rather consistent shade of purple. And then we'll add water to it as we proceed. Let's get a little bit more of the rose. I'll make use of this little gutter down here. And I'm going to add more water. Up here at the top. So let's see what we get with the whole stripe there. Okay, so that will be our shade of purple. Okay, and we'll fast forward some of this and you'll get to follow along and see how it progresses. I think the irregularities of it make it quite interesting, and you can work forward or back. I had thought perhaps you work from dark to light, but then you've got to keep your hands out of it. Or you could do it upside down, but then it's hard to think what you're trying to achieve. So practice it and see what way you like it. Try it first just in one color, and then experiment with some additional colors as well. And I think you'll find that it's a fun way to achieve a whole interesting look. And quite often the ridge will be darker, and if it is kind of misty, then it will be a lighter shade as it goes down into the valleys. And like some of the paintings of China where you would see only the rocky peaks, I thought it was a certain style of painting, and then I saw photos where the peaks come out of the mist and the fog in the valley, and all you see are the peaks of the mountains. So study some photos of things and have some fun playing with your misty hills as you create new adventures in watercolors. So now the fluid masking pen that we applied, we painted over it, and now if it's dry with clean fingers, I should be able to simply roll, almost like rubber cement, roll away to reveal our little droplets. Brush it away. There we go, and there we have some very dramatic little dewdrops. So as a last little touch, I'm going to take a mostly dry brush, just a little bit of blue, bit more blue. We're going to create a little bit of a crescent shadow at the bottom edge. Oh, and this little one we missed. So there's a fun way to make use of your Fineline masking fluid pen and create some beautiful roses. So here we've used the fragrant rose to make a beautiful floral card. We've used the bright colors on our hummingbird and a monochromatic view of the misty hills with our adventure awaits. So I hope you will look for next week where we will take these same stamps and take it another step further into our watercolor series. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.